Hey, welcome everybody back to Liberty Warrior Nation. It is so good to see you all tonight, Monday evening, October 27th, 2025. We have a great show planned for you guys like we always do, bringing you the latest information and, of course, the inside scoop with our one and only Jeff B. They are both backstage, the boys getting all prettied up. They have to powder their noses, and Mike has to tone down his hair, which, you know, he shines it up and then he tones it down. Oh, wait, he doesn't have any. That's right. So he's put a cowboy hat on. Jeff B, I sure, is lighting up a stogie, and we are so ready to get fired up and get you guys fired up. See what you guys have to say today on this show. We're going to talk about a few different things this evening, and I am so excited about it. We're going to talk about, is it being built a bunker or a ballroom or both? We've got a little clip about Bannon on Trump 2028. We know that the 2028 thing was a big deal a while ago because a lot of the Democrats that were in the Oval Office were receiving Trump 2028 hats and they weren't happy about it. And then we also have some voter roll cleanup. Remember years ago when we were telling you guys about the voter rolls and we were told that there was nothing wrong with them, maybe a little bit here and there, but nothing that would cause the election? Well, we've got a lot more details on that tonight as well, plus some surprise information from the one and only Jeff B. So once again, I'm going to see you right after this, another countdown, and we'll be right back.
Well, we're back. It's Monday night. Welcome back to LWN. We got Jeff B with us. Tammy just bailed out on us for some reason. I think she was scared of the boys. Since I was powdering my nose.
Finally hear.
you just never know what you're going to get when Tammy drives the bus.
Sorry, I know. And you guys, I think you purposely pushed me out because I was in and you pushed me back out.
I didn't touch anything. Hands are off.
Here we go.
Oh,
Doc
boy.
P says matching beards already with you and Jeff B. That's about
there
it.
You go. Hey, we had such an amazing time Friday night. Did anybody else have such a great time Friday night with us? You guys throw us a comment there in chat. But we had an awesome time.
Can I not hear Mike?
Oh, you can't hear him?
Oh no.
Yeah, he'll have to hit a button. Yeah. We did have a good time last night. We hope you guys did too. So if that's the case, while LW's figuring that out, can you guys please hit the like, share, and subscribe button so we can get our goal of 500 likes tonight for this evening's show? You guys did so well last night, or the night before. Friday it was. Today's Monday. But you guys did a good job. Don't laugh at your partner. You support your partner.
Absolutely. I want to ask real quick. Can everyone else hear me 5x5? Because we had this problem a week ago with Jeff where he couldn't hear me. So can you guys give me a 5x5 if you can hear me? I just want to make sure. Go ahead, Tammy.
Well, I was going to say, I think it was a really good time. You guys surpassed the 500 likes mark.
Yeah,
and that was an amazing thing. That is incredible. And a lot of shares.
Let's see if we can break 600 tonight.
Yeah, let's see if we can do that. Let's see if Jeff B can hear LW, because he went out and he came back in.
All right.
Yeah.
Can you hear me, Jeff?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right. Man, that was close. I was sweating bullets there for a minute. Well, I don't know. It was a great show. Everybody's saying it's a great show. And again, we almost actually broke 600 likes for Friday's show. So anything that you guys can do tonight, hit that like button. We already have over 200 in here tonight. And we got I don't know, I think it was like 30 or 40 in Rumble. So we're already climbing. And you guys helped us break that algorithm on Friday. Like I said, we got almost 600 likes. That was a big deal. You guys watching any of those shorts that we put out there also helps us climb. So everything's rocking and rolling, Tammy and Jeff. Rumble is gaining traction right now. YouTube's gaining traction. I'm getting ready to put us out on TikTok, Instagram, and Telegram. So that's coming here soon. I'll be working on that. Don't forget that you guys also helped us reach our goal Friday night, which was $200 in donations for me to turn around and purchase the silver. So I committed to you guys, the listeners, the viewers, I'm going to buy $400 worth of silver coins, and we'll do our coin drive giveaway about the first week in December. So anybody who donates anything between now and then, your name goes in the drawing for the silver coins. So I know that you can buy me a coffee, you can send me a Venmo, Cash App, whatever you guys want to do to help out with that. We had a gentleman in here that also wants to send me a silver coin that he wants to give away. So when I receive that, so we're going to be doing all of that. I think we're up to at least 8 coins right now, Tammy, for the December giveaway right before Christmas. We got some other stuff that we want to share in the next week or so for Christmas as well. So we're planning on doing a lot of shows, and I'm excited for that. So I do have to work one day this week, Tammy, I think. But as far as I know, we should be able to go live almost every day this week.
Well, that's pretty cool. I think I'm pretty good to go, and I'm looking forward to it, too. It feels like old times. I love that Jeff B's able to join us as well, and it's full circle, and I have to admit, I'm wearing the Liberty Warrior Nation t-shirt, you guys.
Yeah,
I don't know if you guys remember these. Do you remember this? Liberty Warrior Nation, it's United States. I'm not going to stand up because then I'll have trouble sitting down and bumping everything. But the thing is, I was laughing, and I was telling Jeff B and LW backstage, I said, no matter what, I was squeezing into the shirt because I've gained a few pounds from a few years ago. So, but the shirt does stretch and it still fits, so I'm happy to wear it, and it still looks good. And we've come full circle. I think it's pretty cool. And Tammy Harradine in there says, yeah, it feels like old times, and it sure does.
Oh, I'm excited. Well, Jeff, we had a great night Friday night, and I know we left the Friday show with something that we really want to talk about. Now, I don't know if we want to hold it till later in the show, but we want to talk about Dan Scavino and why is he getting, I don't know if you would call it promotion, but he has definitely been assigned certain tasks, and I think that's worth talking about tonight. That's some big news. I know it's not new news. It's been out for a minute, but I would like to dive deep into it and talk about it tonight. But Tammy, you kind of already put the show together tonight. So what is the first topic that we're going to get to? And I will turn on the phones tonight and put the number up on screen when we're ready to take callers. And you guys are welcome to call in tonight. Say hi to Jeff. Say hi to Tammy. Say whatever you want to me, and make a comment, ask a question, and keep the conversation going. But I'll let you know when I'm going to turn that on. But Tammy, go ahead and give us the first topic.
Okay, well, I wanted to say to Jeff B, please don't make me wait till the end of the show like last week. So since LW put me in charge, I'm going to talk about this one thing first, and then let's not get sidetracked, because then can we do the Dan Scavino, please?
Sure.
Like he goes, sure, because I don't want him leaving. So the first thing I want to talk about is I wanted to revisit this, you guys, because it's been talked a lot about MAGA and cults and all this bad stuff about who we are, okay? Well, yeah. Tucker Carlson had a great show, and he was talking about the 5 different pillars of what MAGA really is, and I wanted to cover them real quick, and let's revisit that, because we've gotten so far away of what MAGA is and what's represented out there with all the chaos and with all the left and even, on our own side. So basically, if you guys remember, which you do, especially Jeff, because from 2015 on, over 10 years, Trump has been talking about these same 5 things. The man has never changed. You can go back and watch any interview, anything he says, even when he was on talk shows and fun things, he still was always fighting for America. So the first thing is obvious. It says America first. My thing is, why in God's green earth, these people that despise Trump, they don't put America first. They don't say, you know what, we love America, but we just don't care for Trump. If somebody else was in there, maybe these things would be easier to swallow, but they're not, because they don't want to put America first. So something that you would think that is common sense, America first, would be common sense, and that's what we'd be doing, all our politicians, all our presidents and everything else, and all our local people, and they don't. So do you think it is a ridiculous concept, LW, to have America first, or Jeff B? Two simple words.
I'll let Jeff go first.
Okay.
Well, yeah, you should want America first, and if you don't want America first, then we should hand out some questionnaires. What country should be first, and give them a free ticket there.
There you go.
I love
exactly.
it, Jeff, and I agree with him wholeheartedly. Listen, Putin is Russia first. Kim Jong or whatever his name is, he's North Korea first, and I probably get these countries mixed up. Ping is China first. Everyone else is their country first. Why would America not be America first? That's the first pillar of MAGA, and I think it's a critical path for us to have America first. Now, I agree also with what Tammy said. If you look at the other side, I wouldn't say you never, but I say American flags, when they're doing their stuff, isn't as prominent as you see with MAGA, with Donald Trump, with the right. We always display the American flag. We're always proud of our veterans. We're always proud of our heritage in the American flag. I won't say you never see it, but it's not as pronounced. They don't ever talk about America first. They talk about all the other countries first. They don't ever talk about the American citizen, people that were born in this country, people that came to this country legally and went through the whole process to become an American citizen. They don't talk about us being first. They talk about illegals being first. Illegals should get all the handouts. Illegals should get all the help. Illegals should get this, and illegals should get that. That is a stark difference between the right, the left, between MAGA and the crazies. And I think it's important to be America first, Tammy.
I agree. And the second thing ties into what you just said. It's protect our borders and have real borders. That's the second pillar of MAGA. Because who benefits from open borders? Who benefits when we don't put America first? So those two tie in together. You've got, like you just said, the Dems and even some Republicans out there saying that the illegals should get this and this and this, food, housing, all the stuff that we've seen. They cross the border. They don't look like they've had a hard ride over, families, because they have new clothes, new shoes, they have new phones. They look very healthy. They don't look dirty like they've been traveling by foot. And, if we don't have borders, we've watched the collapse of what's happened to this country in the previous administration, and we're still cleaning up that mess. So, Jeff, does it make sense to you to protect our borders and have real borders?
Oh, absolutely. And, one thing I'd like to see is somebody like the Speaker of the House, Kennedy, somebody of that type of stature to get up on the House floor and tell all of these people that are protesting, all these illegals, you know what? You're right. We're going to give them benefits, but all your EBT and SNAP, we're going to have to turn that off in order to do that and watch the tide change.
That is the big thing that they're saying, that there's going to be unrest and stuff, because these people, remember, they were told also they have to work like 15 hours a week. They had to stop buying junk food. and the sort. So that's the new thing. They're all on social media now saying, how am I supposed to feed my kids? How am I supposed to do this and that? Trying to play on the heartstrings, where some of them were collecting $4,300 a month. I don't live on that. You know what I'm saying? So LW, what do you say you about the borders?
I think you can't have a country without borders. Jeff has served his country proudly. Jeff's been, I would imagine, in different places across the world. Let me ask Jeff this question. Jeff, if I was to jump on a boat, go across the ocean, and get out and try to cross into China illegally, what would happen to me?
You would be detained.
Or what's the other option? I mean, there are some countries that they would
Yeah.
end you, right? You would
Well,
probably be shot.
well, if you go to North Korea and you cross in, you're done. You're stuck like Chuck.
Yeah.
And, and I don't think the State Department's coming for you. And if they do, it may be 3 or 4 years.
So here's another question for you, Jeff. What is going on in Europe right now with France, UK, and a lot of those countries right there when you get these caravans of immigrants just flooding into their countries and they're not protecting their own borders? What kind of problems does that cause?
Well, look, you're having all these stabbings in the UK. People should remember the bombings in France. Uh, and it's going to get worse because these type of people who've been radicalized and who have totally different beliefs than the civilized world, they play the long game. They will sit on the sidelines for 6, 8, 12 years and then wait for, some cleric or some a fatwa to come out and to activate them and to get busy. That's one of the biggest concerns I think we have on our doorstep.
I totally agree with that, and that creates problems here in America, where we've had multiple felons from out of this country that continuously get brought back into this country or led into this country that are doing all kinds of horrible things, to the citizens here in America and to people who are visiting here or whatnot. Not only that, but they're also using that to, I mean, we've talked about this for years. They're using people coming across the border illegally. They're placing them in certain places in this country for voting. And I say that with confidence because I know that's what they're doing, and there is proof out there that that's what they're doing, but a lot of people argue that. So what do you two say about that?
Yeah, my thing is, I agree. I feel like our country has been taken over because this point here, Dearborn, Michigan, is a foreign country, is true. I worked there back in the day. It was bad then, but it's really bad now. They play that prayer through the sirens 5 times a day. When you have open borders and you let people in and you let other people take over, look at the kind of people that we have in here now and what we're trying to clean up, the enormous amounts of money that have been wasted instead of spending it on our own people, keeping our borders closed. Remember, they were having a fit because Trump wanted to build the border wall. Well, look at how much money we found that the last administration has wasted and given to illegals in this country. And our own government shut down because we will not allow billions of dollars to go back to aid more illegals. That's why they've closed it down. So when it comes time and time again to our own people, our own government is against us.
I totally agree. What do you say, Jeff?
Well, yeah, you just look at the last administration. Now, from my perspective, I don't blame the people that have come in here illegally because they were afforded an opportunity by the U.S. government when the Biden administration was flying people in plane loads. So, you look at it, if we were, North Korea, or if we were, Busan, and you're given a free ticket to go somewhere where there's a lot more opportunity, you would probably take it. I feel bad for the people that were I don't want to say forced in here, but they offered, a dream that, people shouldn't have offered to give them.
Yeah, in the first place, yes. It wasn't all criminals, but a lot of them were. So the next one is the war on terror, and all wars, basically, especially the long wars. It goes without saying, are pointless. They're bad. They're expensive. They kill Americans. We're always involved in other people's wars. We're always policing everything. And basically, it shouldn't be that way. Because if we closed our borders, policed our borders, we wouldn't have to deal with wars outside. We would only have to worry about if wars came in. So we know the enormous amount of lives that it's cost. Look at all the wars over all the years, the decades, and it's all been to benefit, I think, people with money, power, and control, and it's still going on. I mean, some of these wars are years long, still going on, that Trump has recently put out, and it makes no sense. It is not about human safety, feeding humans, loving one another, treating your own people kind. It is about power and control and wanting more and more. So I agree with that.
Central banks and the elite fund both sides of every war, and it's been proven. We've been talking about it for a long time. It's insane. It is the military complex being used to their advantage, and I can't wait to hear what Jeff has to say, but I have to say, Tammy, here we go again. We're blowing up. So I have to say thank you real quick to H. Ann. She bought us all coffee and said, I cannot tell you how happy I am that you're all back. I've been so excited for tonight. I listened to Friday's show 3 times. Okay, and that's not it. So hold on. There's more. There's also Mary V. She bought us all coffee and said, excited to see you, LWN family. Much love from Missouri. And then we've got Lillian, who has also bought all 3 of his coffees and said it's good to be back with the LWN family again. Just to let you guys know, if you didn't catch Friday's show, I've already put in $400 into our coin giveaway. I'm going to reach out to Miles Franklin and get those ordered. And so anybody who donates, anybody who sends us any kind of donation, doesn't even matter. Your name is going into the drawing. And for those of you who are watching us over there on Rumble right now, if you guys drop a super chat or anything in there, I got it pulled up on the screen. I'll see you. I'll see it. I'll put your name in the drawing as well. But it is to help keep this going, help keep the show going. We are dedicated to bringing you guys as much information as we possibly can with Jeff, with Tammy doing all of her research. And we're excited for where this thing is going because I believe the best is yet to come. And I believe, and I was so excited Friday night when Jeff brought it up. Right now we're soaring at over almost 500 people watching live right now, just so you and Jeff know, Tammy. But we're talking about Trump 2028. And we were talking about that on Friday, and Jeff was saying how Bannon put that out. I watched that I don't know how many times today. Other people are putting it out there. Other people are talking about it. Bannon saying there is a constitutional way for Donald Trump to run and be president again in 2028. And Tammy, Jeff, this is crazy. Remember when Donald Trump had Trump 2028 on the hats on his desk?
So you bring that up, so you carried into another thing. So I'm going to share screen and just show this clip real quick because it is about that. Let me see, is that the one? No, that one. Where is it at? This one. There it is. Let's go. Play over here.
So Trump 28, Trump is going to be president in 28, and people just ought to get it.
It's the echo.
Oh, is it echoing again?
Yeah.
All right, hold on. Let me, okay. I unmuted the one I was supposed to unmute.
Accommodated with that.
So what about the 22nd Amendment?
There's many different alternatives. At the appropriate time, we'll lay out what the plan is, but there's a plan, and President Trump will be the president in 28. So Trump 28, Trump is going to be president in 28, and people just ought to get accommodated with that.
So what about the 22nd Amendment?
There's many different alternatives. At the appropriate time, we'll lay out what the plan is. But there's a plan, and President Trump will be the president in 28. So Trump 28. Trump is going to be president in 28.
All right. I think it just keeps
So
going.
yeah.
Were you guys able to hear that
Yeah.
without me unmuting it? Okay, I just want to ask chat because I want to make sure we get the sound right. Were you guys able to hear Bannon when he said that? Just drop me a 5x5 or something there in the chat because I want to make sure you guys are being able to hear it. But go ahead, Tammy.
So that ties into it, and Jeff B has brought this up before about Trump being able to do 2028. Now Trump did recently come out and say, and I posted it on our page today, that the VP is out of the question, that he won't be doing it. He said there's a lot of good people like JD and other people. And then there was an article that said Trump kind of may not do 2028, but it was a like sidestep to it. He's not saying, yes, I will and all that. But my thing is, Jeff, it's got to feel good for you because back in the day, when you were saying that, people kind of made fun of it and said, no way, it's the Constitution, you can't do that. But Bannon's like, hey, if that's what the people want, there's ways around it. And don't you feel justified at this point, finally, years later?
Well, I told people 6, 7 years ago that there was going to be a constitutional crisis that comes up. There is going to be something major jurisprudence that is going to require the U.S. Supreme Court to step in and truly on a bipartisan basis. And I think that's why, 5 years ago, we seen the military judge advocate general court going into the U.S. Supreme Court. I mean, we have video of it. It's not a conspiracy. It's not some made up farce. There's video of them going in there, and there is zero reason for the military to be going to the U.S. Supreme Court unless they are doing a notice to the Supreme Court of continuity of government.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just incredible. And, Trump did come out and say his MRI recently was perfect, that he's sound, and he was very happy about that. So that's kind of his little sidestep, like not saying he will, but not saying he won't because he's in tip-top health. So I thought that was pretty neat today when I saw that.
I think he said that for that reason, Tammy. I really think he was planting the seed. Like he was saying, hey, I'm still capable. I'm still in perfect health. I got 3 years to go. But here's the question in the chat real quick. How many of you would like to see not just 4 more years of Donald Trump? Now we're down to 3, but how would you guys like to see 7 more years of Donald Trump to turn this country around and get it on the right track? I know that as long as the policies that he continues to put out there align with what I believe in, what I think should happen with this country, and it's always America first, I wouldn't mind seeing another 4 years after this term.
Well, there's a lot of work that is yet to be done that can't really be done in 3 years because it's being talked about how we have to keep this momentum forward, not just establishing everything, but having the right people in the right place at the right time. We haven't had a chance to do that. And I think that will make people feel a lot better because sure, JD Vance or somebody like that get in would be great and carry through his laws and policies. But if we were to lose it, I think we'd lose this country. So what do you think, Jeff? Do you think it's doable that Trump would be able to do it another 4 years?
I think it's doable. Now it just and I kind of agree with one of the viewers. Asked me in 2 years because when Trump first come into office, in the big chair. Prior to him being the big chair, it called me at 6:00 Eastern time the night of the election and said that he won it and he won it huge. And I'm like, how in the hell can you? He goes, trust me, we know he won it. If he's mentally capable if there is a legal constitutional way, uh, then yes, I don't see why. I think he only has 3 years left, and there is a lot of stuff that he told the American populace that was true. That even though we can see some signs of stuff happening, there's going to have to be a lot proven to the American people, and you can see based on Trump's Asian trip, they lit up the Tokyo Tower with the American flag.
It was amazing.
You
Yeah.
know,
Absolutely.
I can't see any other president that they would have done that for. So, there's some symbology there. I think possibly one thing is we let the Japanese government know who actually killed Shinzo Abe. And because they like Shinzo Abe over there. And, that's going to be interesting when that's revealed.
Yeah,
Well,
my
that's
phone,
that.
my phone keeps blowing up, Tammy. I gotta cut
Okay.
in. So our brother Travis here, he bought us all coffees, but he also sent a message, and I see that he put it in chat too. But I want to read this message for him because I think it's important to hear Travis's voice as well. He said, "Both parties have abandoned us. MAGA stand on its own. We are unity," and that's from Travis. And I think there's one more. Hold on. Yeah, this is from somebody. But if you guys can let us know who you are, and so that we can write it down and make sure that your name gets put in the drawing. They bought us 3 coffees as well, one for each of us, and it says, "Good to see you guys." So thank you for those coffees as well. But I think Travis, he's looking at things from all angles, just like I am. And there's a lot of things that Travis and I agree on, and there's some things that we don't agree on, just like anyone else. But I can see how Travis feels that way because we've been talking about this for months now, how a lot of this stuff just doesn't make sense, and it's just crazy how we're seeing that Marjorie Taylor Greene and a couple of them, Tammy, have been calling people out and calling MAGA out and I mean, she was very vocal about the whole Argentina beef thing that's coming up, and just some of those things. So I can see how Travis and other people could probably feel a little bit like we're being left behind, and I just want to give them that voice.
Yeah, and I want to say hi to Love Pugs. Love Pugs is in here, and TJ
Oh, I've
Katz.
seen her. Yeah,
It's good to
guys.
see you guys and everybody. And it's Tennessee Girl. I got your name down for the drawing.
Okay.
We'll put it in there. Yeah, I can agree with that because there's been a lot of flip flopping going on. But Marjorie, a lot of people didn't like her, don't like her still, but she really is putting herself out there. She's giving the what's what and who. You watch her on Tucker's show and a couple other interviews and stuff, and she's been putting a lot of truth forward. And she's not worried about not taking another breath. She's putting it all out there because she said you have to, and she's doing it for her kids. So Jeff B, all these years, all these politicians, I don't think we've ever had such violence against them or such worries and them having to say, I'm not, that word. So my question is the security beefed up around Congress and all the congressmen? Like, do they have to pay their own, or is there a certain amount they get? And is it more now than it used to be as far as the amount of protection they have because of the violence against them, the threats?
Well, I know the Master at Arms, it's based on threat basis, but certain levels of congressional members, they get protective detail, like the Gang of Eight. Those key people, they get security provided. But I don't understand why Congress would need such beefed up security, because they've been telling us for years they know what's best for us.
Yeah, right.
And, and if you're so loved, then why do you have to have all this security detail paid for by the taxpayers?
Well, and locally as well, because Marjorie Taylor Greene did an event, a fundraiser here in my city not long back, and she had her own security, but she requested at least three local police additional security on top of it for her speech and her appearance. Now, I'm not knocking it or blaming her. I'm just saying that's ridiculous that that one side or these people go after people like that. It's just because they don't agree. We've gotten so far across the boundaries of what is human and civilization compared to before. So yep. I get it. So back to number 4 now of the 5 pillars of the MAGA, what we are as MAGA, is real jobs, not globalization, because over 10 years back, Trump said similar things, if you can recall, and if not, go look up the interviews. He talked about jobs and factories moving overseas. All the wealth is overseas. He said it puts us in a terrible position, and past politicians have done this over and over again to line, I guess, their own pockets. And businessmen here or companies said, well, it's cheaper to go overseas. I'm trying to save money. But what started as maybe a little handout turned into the way of life, and we got screwed and tattooed by it. And I can agree with that. We should not be outsourcing everything. So what say you, Jeff?
Well, just in our area, we had Timken roller bearings, which now everything's basically outsourced to China, Japan. We had Diebold, which is now owned by a German company. German, boy, that's going to become interesting. Ashland Oil, Goodyear, and all of these, the Hoover company, the Hoover vacuum.
Yeah.
That's right in my back door. So all these companies have went, to Mexico, all overseas, Canada. But now here's going to be the bigger problem is if you bring some of these jobs back, who are you going to get to do the work? Because honestly, the American people, and when I say the American people, I don't mean everybody. I mean us as a group. They don't want to work. And we're about ready to see this come November 1st when and if they discontinue these SNAP benefits. Because all these videos that are going viral all over the place, there was a news article that stated some Walmarts are going to be closing down November 1st because they are worried that they are going to get looted.
Oh, wow. I didn't hear that.
Well, it's funny you say that, Jeff, because I just put that in my notes not to forget to talk about, but I want to say real quick. So tonight we've got $85 in donations. So I will donate half of whatever we make tonight to the coin giveaway. So whatever you guys want to do, put your name in there. We'll get you guys drawn about the first or second week of December for Christmas. But so I've seen some videos today, Jeff, and they are talking about turning off the EBT.
Correct.
To a lot of people, and I know that there are people out there that rely on that. They need that, and I understand. I once in my life had to use it myself. But there are people out there making videos saying, if you turn my EBT off, we're going to, like you said, go into the grocery store, rob them blind. But here is something that I fear is more concerning than that. And that is there are videos out there saying, we'll just wait for people to come out of the grocery store with their carts.
Correct.
And we're going to jack them. And
Correct.
There's some old gray beard mafia guys like me that are saying, and they're doing videos saying, if you try to take my shit, you're going to hear two sounds. First sound's going to be me telling you, Bubba, better back the hell off and take a walk. And if you don't, the second sound is going to be ch-ch, and you won't hear the third sound. Now that to me alone is concerning, because if you have all that stuff going on across America, how many people are going to choose, like he said, the value of your life is a bag of groceries and end up being unalived? Like that's, man, I tell you what, that's very concerning to me as a citizen.
Yeah, and this is why if this happens, this is why I think there's going to be one step prior to Trump announcing the invocation of the Insurrection Act. And I think,
And then does that lead to martial law?
well, I mean, it possibly could in some areas. I don't think it's going to be a nationwide, but I think prior to Trump announcing that, if he needs to, is he's going to declare a national emergency. And the national emergency is going to be, with this issue, if it does happen. And in certain cities, if the citizens do not abide by what I'm guessing is going to be an EBS that's going to announce this, then those cities or those states will then be under the Insurrection Act, and if that doesn't take care of it with troop deployment, then it'll be martial law. I'm not above having them use these tools. I just don't want it to be something that's going to be commonplace, and I don't think it will. We have enough safeguards in place. And this reminds me of history, right? If
Mm-hmm.
you go back 1930s, early 1940s, there was a crazy parliamentary member that kept telling the British populace about this guy in Germany named Hitler. And he kept telling the Whigs that he's building his army. He's building his army. They all thought he was a crackpot.
Mm-hmm.
And Neville Chamberlain would come out there and say, "Oh, he's crazy. He's just stoking fear, fla- fanning the flames." And then all of a sudden, it happened, and they brought in Churchill as the PM. So even though I've said it a number of times, there's a lot of things I wish Trump would do different. And that's just my own personal. But for our nation, whether you like him or dislike him, uh, what's the other alternative? Right now, there is
Right.
none. And
No.
I think that, in my conspiracy mind, Trump's been groomed for this by certain members of the military and certain members of shadow governments.
Well, I'm hoping that's the truth, because when you look back at some of these people, not just the amounts they receive, but how long that they receive them, it came
Yeah.
a way of life instead of just a hand up,
Yes.
and they've become lazy, entitled, and everything else. Laying out, well, what am I going to do about this and this, when working people don't live off that much a month for their food. So I think that system has been a mess for a very long time. And like I said, it shouldn't be a lifelong thing. It should be reviewed constantly, and it's not. It's like something, obviously there's reasons for it, because, that aren't good. But I hope that he takes care of it, because there's even people that need it that aren't getting it. So we have to straighten that system out, definitely, 100%. And I'm hoping this is the beginning of it.
I totally agree. We got 444 people watching on YouTube, 77 people watching on Rumble, 17 watching on X. So if you guys can do me a huge favor and hit that like button wherever you're at, consider subscribing to us and share us out. We would greatly appreciate that. Here's the thing about the EBT. It was always meant for a hand up, not a handout. Here's my question for all of chat. Do you guys believe, and this is a hard question. This is not easy, because I have a heart too, but I'm also America first, and I know that people take advantage of this. Do you guys believe, anybody in chat, that illegals that come to this country should get EBT? Do you guys believe that illegals should get free housing or anything that is a social program here in America because they're here illegally? And they're going to show you things like they got little kids, little babies, Elderly people, do you guys believe that they should get that, or should it be reserved for American citizens only? That's my question.
I'm going to say double hands up for American citizens only. They're illegal is illegal. Illegal doesn't only mean illegal for you can't have certain drugs or you can't do this or that. You can't pick and choose what the word illegal means. When you come here illegally, right there, to me, that's the dead end. Right there, you're back out. I'm sorry your country is horrible. I'm sorry you're trying to escape, but you still cannot bypass the system. We have a system for a reason, and that system failed the last 4 years because everything was open. And look at, like I said, the money that it cost. The living conditions that illegals had were far better than some of us live now. It's ridiculous, and that's what I have to say about it.
Okay,
Gets me fired up.
let me ask this question, Tammy. Michelle sent me a list of food stamps by ethnicity. I texted it to you. Maybe you can email it to yourself and then pull the chart up on screen. So I want to ask this question. I get the illegals shouldn't get it. How do you guys feel about people who come here for asylum, people who come here to get away from, the stuff that goes on in some of their countries, where they're being, like Christians, being persecuted and crucified, not crucified, but persecuted and the things that are happening in some of these countries? If they come here for asylum, should they get that help? Should we help them get on their feet? And then, for me personally, if we're helping somebody like that, then they should be doing everything they possibly can to, if they're going to stay, become an American citizen. They should be going out and getting a job. They should be paying taxes just like anyone else. Like I'm okay with giving a hand up. I just don't want somebody living off of me, working my butt off, my tail off all week long, and they just get to collect all the free shit. That's what I think.
Jeff B.
Well, I'm kind of in the same boat.
And Larry's got a great question here, Jeff. I'll let you answer it. What about the disabled?
Who are legally here, or disabled citizens?
I would say disabled citizens would probably be the question.
Well,
I could be wrong, but
they're I'm disabled in the eyes of the military and in the eyes of the government. But that didn't stop me. I didn't use that as a crutch or as an excuse not to do anything. Mm-hmm. So, there's always something that people can do. Mm-hmm. Even if you're here legally through asylum or whatever, I don't believe there should be any handouts. There's streets that can be swept. There's buildings that can be painted. Teach these people a skill that, maybe later on they can become a valued taxpayer. And I have a lot of friends that have came from different countries here, but they did it legally. How I would like some congressional member to explain to these individuals who had to pay tens of thousands of dollars in legal fees, testing fees, who did it the right way. And now, let's hypothetically say you got a family from Honduras who came here legally that paid upwards of $120,000. How do you explain that to them?
Yeah.
And what has done this is the politicians.
Yes.
The politicians have
They're buying votes.
Absolutely,
right,
they are.
They're buying votes.
In which that manifests into treason.
Hello, the big one. It's just a matter of somebody putting that in action and taking care of that is what it is, and none of them have until maybe possibly now.
Tammy, you want to go over that list real quick and maybe tell us the top 3 or 5 and the bottom 3 or 5?
Sure. So the top one is Afghan. That's at 45.6% receiving SNAP benefits, which that surprises me. Then we've got Somali, which is 42.4%. And
we
then
got a lot of Somalians here in the Boise Valley.
oh, really?
We've taken in a lot of refugees and a lot of the illegals that have come across the border. They have definitely placed them here, and it is concerning. I'm not gonna lie.
Yep. And then the third top one at 34.8% is Iraqi, and then the Dominican's number 4, but the number ties. It's like only 0.4% off. So those are the top ones: Afghan, Somali, Iraqi, and then Dominican. Now the bottom 3 are
Is this gonna piss us off, Tammy?
yeah, okay. White 8.6%. Italian 7.6%.
Now, what do you mean by white? You mean just
It just says white Americans.
White Americans.
I guess so. Whatever that means, it says that, we are the ones at the bottom 3 that are taking that amount. That's crazy to me.
And what's number 2? Italian?
Italian, and then Indian is the bottom one with the least amount, 4.4%.
So where does Black America fall into this? And the reason why I'm asking about this is because Black America and Hispanic America get hit very hard with illegals coming across the border because they also take their jobs. And they take a lot of jobs. And so that's why I'm asking is where are we at in that demographic? Because, Americans, Black Americans are Americans, Hispanic Americans are Americans, white Americans are Americans, and it seems like Americans, period, get hit the hardest on all this stuff.
Well, Black is at 24.9%, so they're like about 8th or 9th down is where they're at, is what it says. So, I mean, it's crazy to me. I mean, the white, we only take 8.6%. So my point being, at only 8.6%, that wouldn't be a whole hell of a lot of money for us to support our people, right?
Yep,
so
correct.
When you've got these, if they're illegals coming over, and we're at the bottom, and you've got like 15 different kinds of people ahead of you, that's going to put a strain on the program. So, because you can't tell me every single one of these people on that list are legit. So, this is kind of an eye opener.
Well, I'm going to go to Jeff on this. That's why Trump is eliminating a lot of this stuff, because the top 4 or 5, Jeff, are more than likely illegals coming across the border that are benefiting from this. And again, the Americans are far down that scale. And like Tammy says, we could probably afford to take care of our own, but now we're taking care of the world.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you have to look at it like this. In order to stop the fleecing of this and to stop the corruption, you have to stop the machine at some point. You're going to have to turn off all of this stuff in order to find out, just like when the COVID stimulus was going out, how much fraud they were able to find, right?
That's a whole nother show.
Right. But now I think the fraud in this is going to be immensely greater, because you have individuals, and I know some people that, they get $1,400, $1,500, $1,600 a month in food stamps, and every month they sell their food stamps for, pennies on the dollar to get cash so they can buy liquor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And let's not forget about that abuse right there, Jeff. That's a good point.
And, what about the ones that are dead that are still collecting?
Yeah, like some of the ones that are collecting Social Security checks that are 140 years old.
Yeah, or some of them that are dead and still voting. Correct.
And look at it.
There's fraud everywhere.
Everywhere, absolutely. And when they come up with this concept of Doge, I don't think that was a new concept. I think that concept was happening in 2016. in 2017 because there is no physical way, I don't care what computer system you use, to detect all of this fraud, because you're still going to have human eyes to look through it because a
Remember,
computer.
remember when we couldn't say the F word, Jeff?
Correct.
I mean, if we brought that up in 2020, 2021, we get taken down.
Yep. And now, I mean, look at there's going to be a short announcement here soon that the Supreme Court, because it was put on the docket, not publicly yet, but through a buddy of mine at the Marshal Service, that they were told to beef up security at a certain time frame because the 2020 is coming back, and this time it's there's going to be a lot of stuff brought in that's
Absolutely.
that's going to
Wow.
prove.
A lot of stuff coming down. Real quick, before I want to give Tammy an opportunity to finish the pillars if we haven't already, but I want to say real quick, for those of you watching tonight, we got almost 600 people watching. So can you guys hit that like button for us, please? It helps the algorithm. Our record right now is almost 600 for Friday's show. So anything that you can do to help us beat 600 likes over there on Rumble, because I got you guys pulled up too, and I can see everything in chat on Rumble. If you guys can hit that like over there, or Rumble, whatever it's called. It looks like there's only 5 right now, but that could be wrong. I don't know. But if you guys can smash that over there, subscribe to us if you haven't subscribed, and share us out. That would greatly help. And we're getting real close to our record on Facebook. We're up to, 205 on Facebook right now, Tammy, after losing 15,000.
That's crazy.
So we're just trying to hit 250 people subscribe to us over there on Facebook. You guys could help us out there. And, of course, on X, I think I'm somewhere around 100, or maybe it's 270, 170, 270. So anybody that can follow us over there, that would be great. What are the rest of the pillars, Tammy?
We only have
okay. So
we have one more. It's free speech, and that is the first right of the Bill of Rights, our birthright, and it's the difference between slavery and freedom.
That's like a 6-hour show right there.
Yeah, well, we all know that has been censored. We all know that some of the radical people on the left are like, they want to be heard and they want us to accept them, but they don't accept anything from us. They want it their way, not our way. That's not freedom of speech. They have never been censored and taken down for the things that they say and do is violent and evil,
or even
and
held
horrible.
accountable.
Yep, exactly.
Even held accountable for insurrections, or for basically calling for disdain of your public officials, for the violence that they throw out there. Remember Maxine, the nasty waters? She said, get in their face, get right in their face. I mean, there's been so much nasty stuff put out there in the years that nobody's ever been held accountable for any of that stuff. And free speech is the only thing that keeps us free in this country. If we're not allowed to have a show like this, if we're not allowed to protest and to speak out against our government, our Second Amendment is also ensures that too. Like, we would be totally enslaved. And so I want to let Jeff talk about free speech for a minute here.
Well, just look at the current events that are going on right now with these protests. If you watch Portland, which, I mean, that's just an entire circus by itself.
Yes.
I don't agree with what they're protesting about, but I agree with their right to protest as long as it's done peacefully. When you have these protesters getting up in these ICE agents' faces and telling them to go F off, and I don't know how they keep their composure, because somebody would have been punched. If it was me, somebody would have been picking up their teeth. And it's always amazing to me how these individuals, when something happens to them, then all of a sudden they want the cops. It just dumbfounds me. But
Yes.
and I watch a lot of YouTubers that are on the opposite side of the freeway, just because I look at everything. I mean, I have my own personal beliefs, but I believe they're right, but what if they're not right? So I agree with them being able to say what they want as long as it doesn't infringe on somebody else's rights. And
Yeah.
and I blame the school systems for this. You got these wackadoodle teachers. Just look at that one in Chicago that held the fingers up to her neck.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
she's no longer employed.
Good.
So that right there cost her livelihood, and she'll probably lose her teacher's license
I
over
hope
it.
so. I hope she does, because that's not a person I would want teaching my kids, period.
Absolutely not.
Well, with the Charlie Kirk instance, a lot of people got fired and let go because they celebrated what happened to him.
Hmm.
That is not freedom of speech. That is not laying in the middle of the road,
That's hate
stopping
speech.
traffic. Yes,
That's hate
There you
speech.
go. Laying in the middle of the road so traffic can't get by on the freeway because you want them to
Correct.
see what you have to say. That does cross the line, and that's where they get confused. They imply that they should be able to have freedom of speech. That's not it. You are infringing on other people. Anybody that spits, punches, or gets in the ICE or National Guard or police officer's face is ridiculous. They should really have to get arrested and go to jail for that. There should be zero tolerance. We're not children in kindergarten. You learn not to bite, spit, lie, or be mean in kindergarten. And if you grow up to be an adult and you're still doing it, then you need to go to jail because you know right from wrong. You're choosing wrong.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
a lot of that begins at the household, because a lot of these, I mean, some people that are even in my age bracket, I'm ashamed because how they don't parent. They want the kids to be their best friends, and that doesn't work. Trust me, when I was a kid, all seven of us kids had our ass beat numerous times, and,
Yeah.
not there's not one of us that ever ended up in jail or anything along those lines, is because we had discipline when we were being brought up. Now, if you beat a kid, you're going to jail.
Absolutely. That should wrap up the pillars. I'm going to let Tammy roll into the next segment. We got 90 people watching over there on Rumble, and we have 33 likes. If you guys can help us get those likes up over there on Rumble, I would greatly appreciate that. That helps our algorithm. We have 444 people watching on YouTube. So anything you guys can do to hit that like button on YouTube and get that algorithm up. We want to break 600 if we can on this video. 600 likes on YouTube. We almost got there today with the Friday show, so we're getting real close. Well, Tammy, you're driving the bus. What's the next segment?
Okay, well, I have to get a little picture up here and then share screen.
Oh, they're asking for the call in too. So let's finish this.
Yeah.
Let's finish this segment, and then I'll turn the phones on.
Okay, so I'm going to share screen because Jeff B. promised us that we would talk about this. And this is what I want to talk about is Dan Scavino, the one and only Dan Scavino, because, if you've been following LWN for a long time, you know that he's Trump's, I don't know if you call him right-hand man. He's just been by his side from the golfing days where he was his caddy when he was a younger guy. And he's got all these different duties now. And Jeff said Friday before we left, we'll have to talk about Dan and how he was put in charge of the U.S. Marshals. So I'm just waiting with bated breath here and see what Jeff B. has to say.
Well, did I tell you, Tammy, that I had a 9 o'clock cutoff? No, I'm
Don't you
joking
dare.
with you. So this is my understanding, and this could be totally wrong, but I'm going to roll with it because the person who explained it to me hasn't been wrong yet. So everybody knows what an executive order is, and that's just memos, guidance that the president puts out in order to do certain things under the office of the presidency. And with not having a functioning government right now, with the government being closed, the President of the United States can issue what they call a PED, which is a Presidential Emergency Action Document. This allows the president another purview to get things done. Now, I have been told within the last 4 or 5 days, and it was confirmed yesterday by Dan Bongino, that Bongino is worried about people in the inner circle of the U.S. Secret Service, that people are compromised, which I would tend to agree with him. I think it's through all out federal law enforcement. And my understanding is Trump put Dan Scavino, who is a very, very, very loyal person to Donald Trump, put him in charge of the U.S. Marshals under a PED, due to the fact that the next phase that's about ready to unfold is the court systems. There are going to be issues that are going to pop up both federally and through the local court systems. And a big one is going to be the FISA court. And the entity that's in charge of the court systems is the U.S. Marshal's Office. So that's why he was put into this position. I'm asked the question, well, what about the director of the U.S. Marshal Service? And I didn't get an answer. So I don't know if possibly he's under investigation, he or she, I'm not quite sure who it is, and possibly up for replacement. But you can see from this administration to the previous Trump administration, he has a loyalist. And some people agree to disagree on whether, it's the cult of Trump. But when you are, the way I see it, you are taking down probably the largest RICO in the world with the takeover of the U.S. government by foreign and domestic entities. You have to have loyalists by your side
Oh, yeah.
that when you give some marching orders, you know that they're going to be carried out.
Well, look at how many haven't carried out marching orders and stabbed them in the back, from the first administration
Yep.
to even what's going on now.
Correct.
So he's the perfect choice, and congratulations to him. It looks like Barron's going to have to step up social media for Dan, because Dan isn't going to be able to do social media and that too, or maybe he'll need it to decompress. Who knows? But I think that's amazing. And if the president trusts him, I mean, I've just been tooting his horn all the way along. He's never given anything up. You've never seen him post anything bad. Usually,
Nope.
even his personal stuff, he doesn't post. So when he posted an engagement picture on the White House lawn, I sent it to LW. I'm like, this ain't right. He's so private. What's going on? So it was just very interesting to me. So congratulations to him, and I think that's pretty cool.
Yep. Are you, Jeff, you guys ready for me to turn the phones on?
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
All right, I'll go ahead and get the phones. Go ahead and get the phone started, and you guys go ahead and just keep talking, and I'll let you know when we got a caller.
Well, I've got a couple videos to show, and then I also have an inconvenient study documentary that I dropped the link in there. So let's talk about that first to see if callers come in. So an inconvenient study documentary just came out on inconvenientstudy.com. The mods have the link. They're going to drop it in there. It's a free documentary that just came out, and it was from a man named Del Bigtree, and he is an investigative journalist and CEO Informal Consent Action Network. He developed that. And what it is, the first 2 minutes of the documentary captured me so much that I thought it was worth sharing for you guys, because it gives us all the information about vaccines. And, we know, and we've talked about, that U.S. is the sickest country in the world. And in the first 2 minutes of the documentary, some of the key points include more than 40% of the children now have at least one chronic condition, where just a few decades ago, only 1 in 10,000 had autism. Today, 1 in 31 have autism. So the numbers have drastically increased. The illnesses, the chronic illnesses, the autoimmune disorders. So these changes he talks about, and it's in layman terms where we can understand it, because we know that parents are pressured to get their children vaccinated. Parents want to do the best for their kids, but it's the overabundance of them right from the get-go. He said that this doctor said that these immediate quick changes are not genetic, because it takes generations and centuries to play out. So it's not that the individual vaccine is bad, it's the overabundance of them at one time.
All right, Tammy, we got a caller, just so you know.
Okay, go ahead and take the caller.
Let's go ahead and bring him in. Let me do this. All right. All right, caller, welcome to LWN tonight. What's the name? Where are you from?
It's the train wreck.
Oh, boy, it's Trainwreck Travis. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing fantastic.
All right, it's good to hear from you.
One of the points that I wanted to make, we don't agree on some stuff, but we've never had a heated argument about it at all.
Nope, because I respect you, Travis. I respect your opinion. I've always appreciated from the very first time you called in to LWN, I could see your side of things, and I like being able to communicate with people, articulate. You were very articulative to us, and what were we talking about back then? The very first conversation was Nasara Jasara, and I liked how you said, hey, if everybody was a millionaire overnight, cheeseburgers would be $50,000, and who would actually go to work to pick up the trash? And I thought that was a great perspective.
Now that's exactly right. So the MAGA party is not necessarily right or left. We're American. The whole point of my coffee. The whole point of my coffee was, I think that both sides are starting to see what MAGA is, and both sides are shit. I'm sorry, I'll say it right up. We have too many bad actors on both sides of the party.
I agree with you, Travis. I agree with you.
Yes, sir. Anyway, that's what I just wanted to reiterate that, because I see it every day. We get people on what we think we're on conservative sides. We're not. There's a lot of social programs that I support.
Well, what real quick, because we got another caller, and stay in the room, caller, because I'm going to bring you out here in just a minute. What social programs, real quick, Travis, do you support, and what social programs do you not support?
Well, I don't support any illegal aliens getting any support, but if you have a single mom's got a couple kids that's not doing it just for the government programs, and they need a little hand up, I'm fine with that. I still donate a lot of money to people that need help every day.
Always have. You always have, Travis.
Not anybody else's money. It's mine. I do that on a daily basis.
And I believe you.
Because I can. I put myself in a position where I can do that.
Well, that's greatly appreciated, because I know that you have positively impacted a lot of people over the years since we've known each other. You've driven all over the country to help people. You've donated money. You've sold things to help people, and you're a great American, Travis. And I appreciate the phone call.
Yeah. And I want to get a word in.
Go ahead.
I got an echo.
Go ahead. I turned it off. Go ahead.
Yeah, with Travis, I mean, he does help people out, but he did drive a long way to get a free Chinese meal from me. So in honor of that, I'll just say this. 你好, Travis, 经常你很高兴.
Oh, boy. Here we go. All right. We got another caller. Let's bring him in real quick. Let me see. Let me click on this. All right. All right. Welcome to LWN tonight, caller. What's your name? Where are you from?
Hi, I believe I'm coming through. It's Denise and Frank from Alabama.
Oh, how you doing, Denise? And did you say
Good.
Denise and Frank?
And Frank from Alabama.
All
yes,
right.
sir.
Good to hear you
Y'all
guys. Go ahead.
Thank you. It's so good to have you guys back on. Y'all were talking about the FBI building in Huntsville That's when Jeff was researching it years back, and my husband came out and sent a text through and confirmed it because he worked with a company that helped out with that. And the other thing that was mentioned Friday was Mars with Tammy when she was mentioning Elon Musk and the Mars. I don't know if anybody's ever heard about it, but we believe it to be the military auxiliary radio system. Not like flying to Mars, but that's the acronym for it. So
Okay.
that's all I have to say. But I'm so glad y'all are back.
Well, we appreciate you calling in tonight, you and your husband, Frank. And I hope that you call back again, because that's the cool thing is once you get over the first time jitters of calling into the show, over the years, we've had people call in. Every time we had a show, they'd call in, and Travis is always a welcome addition, and so are you and your husband, Frank. So thanks for calling in.
Thank you. Best of luck, y'all. God bless.
Thank you. All right, hold on a second. I got to mute it. I can't see my arrow. There it is. Okay, we're muted. We're good to go. Go ahead,
I
Tammy.
love that concept about Mars. Hey, Jeff, what do you think?
Well, yeah, Mars is a radio communications. The military, it's like a radio repeater that the military has used. There, back in the early '80s, you used to have trailers, portable trailers that had communication gear in there, and they would have Mars written on the side of it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I mean, I do believe that if communications goes down, that's how the military would communicate.
All right, we got another caller. Let's bring him in. All right, caller, welcome to LWN tonight. What is your name and where are you from?
Rhonda Kinney, and I'm from Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Oh boy, that's Tammy's neck of the woods. So how are you doing tonight?
Yeah, we got a terrible governor and attorney general.
What would you like to say tonight?
I would like to advise everybody that anytime you get a vaccine, whether it's a flu vaccine or anything else, that it's working against your immune system, and all your white blood cells are attacking whatever you just injected into yourself, making your immune system weak. And that's point blank period why they're giving so many vaccines now to these children, because they want to dumb them down.
Oh, I totally agree. I'm going to ask you a hard question. Have you ever taken a vaccine?
Not since I've been able to. I got emancipated when I was 15 years old, and I was born with colon cancer, and so I just came off a hospice 3 years ago, by the grace of God.
Amen.
I had a heart attack, a stroke, and then I broke my hip, and so I rehabbed out of all 3 nursing homes, and I've been out of the hospital and nursing home for a full year.
I bet that's just amazing for you to be able to be out and be on your own, or are you living with family?
Actually, I'm renting the basement. It's set up really nice. It has a living room and a bedroom and a bathroom, and the laundry is right down here, and a sliding glass door out to the hot tub in the backyard.
So let me ask you this question. During 2020 to 2022, when they were forcing people to take those vaccines and all the stuff that came with all of that, what was your thought on that? How did you have family and friends that fell victim to any of that? Because I think we all do, and it's horrible to even think that you would be forced by your own government to put poison in your body. What were you thinking when that whole scenario was unfolding?
I was very worried about my family, and my daughter was doing her internship for labor and delivery, so she was forced to take the vaccine or not graduate. And so she got the vaccine, and as soon as she got the vaccine, her and her fiance both came down with COVID. And then my aunt by the time she had the 3rd shot, that was a Pfizer. My daughter did Moderna, and once my aunt was done with her third vaccine for Pfizer, we put a magnet on her arm and it stuck, and she about shit her pants.
Holy cow! I'm gonna ask you one last question here before we end the conversation.
Okay?
What? And this is a hard question because Tammy and I have already talked about this. What are your thoughts? And I'm not trying to start trouble with anybody in chat, but it's a real question. What are your thoughts on Trump rubbing elbows with Pfizer? What I think, Tammy, it was like a week or two ago, and they came out and said, well, we're gonna put in like $80 million or something, which we found out later that they do that every year, so it wasn't anything special or any kind of special deal that Trump made with them. But what are your thoughts on Trump kind of like almost, in my opinion, and it is my opinion, he almost embraced Pfizer after all of this stuff that you're talking about and all the stuff that John Esterbrooks and myself put out and all the stuff that a lot of patriots and a lot of awakened people out there in America put that out there and said, hey, wake up, don't be doing this stuff. But yet it almost seemed like Trump embraced him. What's your thoughts on that?
Keep your friends close and your enemies closer.
All right. Fair enough. Well, thank you
Think
so
about
much.
it. He never conceded the 2020 election.
No, he did not.
So there you go.
All right. Well, thank you so much for calling in tonight. I hope you call in again. It was a great conversation. Glad to have you part of the family.
Yeah, I'm glad you're back. I've been a long time watcher, so I got on when you first came on.
All
I even got some bumper stickers and put them around, sold them or handed them out for the neighbors.
Well,
so everybody in Door, Michigan has your stickers.
That's awesome. We might have to bring those back. We might have to bring back some
you
bumper
should.
stickers
You
and
better.
some T-shirts. So I appreciate that. Thanks for the call tonight.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, let me mute this, guys, and you can go ahead and give us your thoughts on what the caller just said.
Well, I agree with that, and that's the whole point of offering this documentary that I found for our audience. So they can check into it. And I know the mods did drop the link in there, so if they can do it again, that would be great. But basically, like I said, the first 2 minutes, over 54% of our kids do have a chronic illness. That number is not acceptable. It's either a neurological or autoimmune symptoms or illness, and that's over half of our kids. And that just, it's terrible. And this is the worst part. There was a doctor that did a study on vaccines and all of this. Well, this doctor was too fearful to publish the study because of obvious reasons. So what happened is this Del Bigtree went behind the scenes with cameras and recorded and all of that, and that's how this documentary came out because, like I said, it's unfortunately the scientists, which I understand because he was probably one of the few that were going to speak out against them and certain ones the kids don't need, and he was fearful for his life, his family's life, so this Del Bigtree came through and did this documentary. So it's worth a watch, you guys, it really is.
Yeah, you should check it out. Jeff B., what's your thoughts on what the last caller just said? And then Tammy, do you have any other stuff that
Yes.
is on the plate? Okay, go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, so, with the last caller, when, talking about Trump rubbing elbows with, some of these companies that within our circles believe that they did a great disservice to the American people and to the world, what better way possibly to serve them notice along with a picture of a guillotine is to have them, in the White House thinking that, oh, we got him, he's kissing up to us now, and then serving them notice of what they've done. And yeah, you're either going to cooperate or, you slide a picture of a guillotine across the table, or this is what's in your future.
I like it. Here we got another caller. Let's bring him in real quick.
Come on.
All right. Hello, caller. Welcome to LWN tonight. What's your name? Where are you from?
John Estabrook,
Oh,
City, Louisiana.
It's our brother. It's our brother John Esterbrooks. John, I know you're probably itching to comment on the last caller, and I also want to get your thoughts about Diamond Inn. She's in chat right now. Your thoughts about her calling in and us doing a show here very soon.
Man, I'd love it, and I would look forward to that. Here's the bottom line, and everybody needs to be very highly aware. Now, Robert F. Kennedy's doing an exceptional job at vaccine awareness and letting all Americans know that these vaccines and multiple vaccines and the rate that we inject babies and children, its connection now to autism. So that's being covered. And here's the next thing. Don't take an mRNA vaccine. That's all you got to say. Because when you jack with the God-given immune system, let me tell you something. I have a dear friend, and we were speaking today, and she's being treated for cancer. And one of the things they have to do, because she's on chemo, is then they got to, now the 1 week you get chemo, and the next week you go in and they give you something to build and attempt to build up your autoimmune system. Well, what's the issue? And then think about cancers and the advent of cancers when we know that many of them are great. If you want to read a good book, it's by Hilda Clark. And Hilda's probably dead now, but you could go and read it, and it's The Cure for All Diseases. They all start in the gut. Why is that? And it's because of the parasites that we ingest. Mm-hmm. I mean, and look, this has been true. Did your mama ever warm you when you was a youngin'? Because mine did. And if my mama did, my grandma sure did. So that's the issue is don't, vaccinating with an mRNA vaccine is going to destroy your God-given immunity. So don't do that. But I really wanted to call in and talk about when we start talking about the pillars, and we're talking about food programs and government assistance and how all that was done. I grew up in the 50s. We still had in this nation, stored up in mountains, 1 year supply of food to supply every American for 1 year. Now, it was basic commodities. You had flour, you had sugar, you got salt, you got butter, all of those basic commodities. And then when people didn't have welfare then, but they could get commodities, and they gave them out freely, and it was no big deal. And so now here's what did we do that's different? Well, we passed a legislation, and LBJ, that sinister bastard, when he passed the Great Society legislation and he created this social network and was going to create this Great Society to capture, and he openly said in conversation he wanted to capture black voters from the Republican Party.
Yep.
So that was all a farce, and it was meant to capture the black people, but not just as voters, but to keep them ever in debt.
Enslaved.
They wanted them to be placed into houses. Yeah, communities.
They wanted to enslave them after they just got out of slavery. They wanted to slam them back in it.
Exactly, urban development. And what did he do also? That's when welfare came about. And trust me, I don't care. You can look this up across all of the history of mankind. When you start a giveaway program and you're just giving something to someone and they have to do nothing in return, guess what? You can never give them enough. Ask the Greeks, ask the Romans, What do you think those Colosseums were about? Because if you showed up at the Colosseum to watch the brutality of killing Christians or whatever it was that they were carrying out, you got free loaves of bread. Well, then wait a while. We don't want just loaves of bread. Could we get some olive oil? Could we get some wine? And so that is never anything. If it's an assistance to lift you, I'm all for it.
Yep.
But I'm not for keeping people endlessly when you remove a father from the home, because the woman can become pregnant and have multiple children. And when you look at the benefits that she receives, the more children she has, the more benefit to her pocketbook. But what does it benefit the child when they don't have a father in the home? It was all a socialist design to destroy the family unit. And don't ever believe that this nation does not have the farming capability to feed the entire planet if that's what we chose to do. But who lacks that drive to do that? The politicians, the very people that and when Travis says it's both sides, this evil runs at the core of both parties. They are both loaded with traitors, and their acts of treason are known to all of us. But I mean, until we make that choice, but as far as feeding this nation, if we're going to restore the republic, and I believe that's what MAGA will accomplish, and we restore the republic, and then because here's the thing, if you've got 3 generations of fully indoctrinated people, what is the process that you have to go through when you break the indoctrination? Re-education. And it's not re-education camps. It's just to go back and teach fact-based history about what it is to be an American, what it is that Americans bled and died for in all of these wars. And they weren't wars that anyone in this country wanted. We didn't want to enter World War II. We were forced to enter World War II because of the actions of the Japanese. But when we've entered a war, we go in with we've been given reasons. They always give us a reason why this is a war for us. And we go and then we've given our blood, and we've lost countless people that we all know in our families that have died across these battlefields. And why did they do that? Because they had a patriotic heart. Someone was putting their nation, their family at risk. And what were they willing to do? To go die on a battlefield to protect it and preserve it. And the restoration of the republic is the greatest undertaking in our history.
Yeah, and I believe we're seeing it right in front of our own eyes. I appreciate the phone call, John.
Thank you, brother.
I will reach out to you. I think I'm going to do a group email with you and Diamond in, and we'll make plans for the show.
Excellent, brother. I appreciate you.
All right.
Love
you,
everybody.
Man.
Warrior on.
Warrior on. All right. Let me mute this. There we go. We're muted.
So there's no echo. All right, so I have one more topic while we got Jeff B here, and it's a video. I think it's about 4 minutes, but it is talking about the bunker / ballroom. Are we getting a bunker? Are we getting a ballroom? Or are we getting both? So there's been a lot of controversy because the left is having a fit because of all this money that's being spent on it, even though it is private donations, and people were upset because they don't really want it to remain private. But then one of the donors' names came out of who it was, so there was transparency there. But I came across this little video and I thought it would be interesting, and then Jeff B, and you can put your 2 cents in on it. So I'm just going to go ahead and play it.
Go for it.
Okay, let's start it. Got to go over here. I'm on the other side now, so here.
Everybody's talking about the ballroom, but lost in all of the chaos is something that President Trump is actually doing that almost nobody's talking about. You know, the East Wing was built in 1902 by Teddy Roosevelt, merely as kind of an office space extension of the White House, but it was just meant for some extra space, that's all. In 1942, Franklin Delano Roosevelt had established a presidential bunker at the site of the East Wing. But if you, like me, pay attention to the details this week, you begin to realize that something much bigger than a glorious new ballroom is being built. If you were President Donald Trump and you were taking down the East Wing of the White House in order to build a ballroom, do you just leave the old mid-century nuclear bunker that was built by FDR just sitting there with no updates whatsoever? You really think that's what's happening? The point of this entire project is to make that bunker state of the art. At one point, the President of the United States mentioned that the United States military is actively very involved in the construction of the new ballroom.
I think there'll be nothing like it. And it's being paid for 100% by me and some friends of mine. We're also working with the military on it because they want to make sure everything's perfect. And the military is very much involved in this. They want to make sure everything is absolutely beautiful.
Pretty wild, huh? Want to see more?
So I thought that was very interesting, and I was wondering what Jeff B. thought of that because, obviously the bunkers have been used before. The last time the president did it, I think, was when the protesters or something, or for George Floyd or something, came about in, other than that. But Jeff, what do you think? Is that just like BS, or do you think that has a valid point, because of the military being involved?
Well, I had said on Friday's show that don't worry about what's above ground. Look at what's below ground, which is called a PEOC, which is the Presidential Emergency Center. And this, when Trump first come in and the Secret Service did a sweep of the White House, they, and it was published in some of the news media that they found numerous listening devices. So I think this has, one, a lot to do with the sweep, NSA coming in and looking for devices that probably the Secret Service doesn't know about. But what amazes me about this outrage is these same people who were complaining didn't say anything when Barack Obama used $300 million of U.S. tax money to build a basketball court.
Yeah, right. Let's not forget that. That was our money. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and this is a private donor, and the bunker is under the East Wing as well, right? So that would make sense to do. So you think it's like a clean sweep and a rehash and a discovery of things on top of building a ballroom, which is probably Trump. That's Trump style anyhow, to build the ballroom. So that's what you think it is, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, the ballroom's going to serve a purpose come July 4th of next year.
Oh, that's right, for the celebration. And you're right. So many of our congressmen and women have come out and had a fit over this, and they're just twisting it like they normally do. And it's funny because some people are actually out there saying, oh, so do you believe it's private donors? You really think it's private donors? And I think that's why the guy that was the donor came out and they gave his name, because obviously an anonymous private donor doesn't want people to know, but then they did put his name out there. So it was just another avenue that they could rip apart and tear apart, thinking that they were sneakily using taxpayers' money for this, which they weren't. And yet, on the other hand, they don't give Doge credit for the discoveries they found either. So we can't really do anything right in their eyes.
No. I mean, I have come to the conclusion that this has to be a major illness. They call it Trump derangement syndrome, but I think it's something far more sinister than that.
Unfortunately, I believe so. So really, that's what I had for tonight. I did want to talk real quick about Trump in Asia. Obviously, we know that he's there all week, and it's been reported that he's going to meet with President Xi, Korea time, Thursday, which is, I think, Wednesday at 10 p.m. our time. Is that correct, Jeff?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. And then it's also been implied, Steve Bannon said this, that Trump is going to go to China in January. Now, this has been implied, not verified. He's saying it's been implied, but if he's saying it, I trust it. So Trump's going to go to China in January. Then Xi's supposed to come here at the White House, but he thinks Mar-a-Lago in summer or fall. And for some reason, he believes Mar-a-Lago. Now, is that because he thinks he'll be just spending time there in the summer, Jeff? Like, why would Trump bring Xi to Mar-a-Lago over the White House?
Because if you want to have communications with somebody and you don't want anything being leaked out, you have it at the presidential's home that has probably one of the most state-of-the-art skiffs that's known right now.
Very good. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I wanted to get that in there with you here. And got to say thanks to Twister Girl who bought us 3 coffees tonight. Thank you so much. She said, so happy you all are back. And we've got so much coffee tonight. So we want to thank you guys very much. So the jitters, exactly, the jitters. We have them. But yeah, that's all I had. I mean, is there anything else, Jeff, you wanted to bring up or talk about that you didn't have a chance to? Yeah?
No, the only thing that I believe that's going to be on our doorstep probably within 48 to 96 hours is Colombia and Venezuela. The aircraft carrier group will be in region probably by Friday, and they may wait till Trump gets back on U.S. soil to start it, but I look for some big booms here shortly.
Wow. LW?
Well, I would never have guessed in my lifetime that I would be hearing anyone, let alone Jeff, saying that when it comes to South America. You would think that a lot of our energy for anything like that is obviously Middle East, over in that area, Korea, China, anywhere over there, and it's just, am I the only one, but does it seem very odd and for somebody to say something like that, for Jeff to say, well, we might hear some big booms in South America? It just kind of hits me wrong.
Yeah, we're used to Iraq, Iran, Afghanistan, the threats with China, the threats with Russia and Ukraine we've seen. That's just out of left field. So I guess there's a lot we don't know. And we think we know a lot, but I always say, then we always find out more. There's a reason for doing that. Now, I know that there are some people out there, unfortunately, that are saying Trump's just like shooting down these boats, that it's innocent people. How do you know they're not fishing or just doing something else? And I told them, excuse me, your head is in the sand because they have intel. They don't just randomly go after what they think is a boat carrying drugs or whatever. They have intel. They have things and ways and means of knowing exactly who's in the boat and what they're carrying. Yeah. So people just are really going to attack them no matter what.
It's good to see Conservative Cowboy in here as well. I have a question for Jeff. Question is, do you think Trump will reopen Ellis Island? Jeff B.
They should. Absolutely, they should. A port of entry. If you want to come to this country legally and share the same values that we do, absolutely. If it was good enough for our forefathers, it's good enough for people now.
I like that. All right, well, let's roll into final thought. We'll let Jeff go first in case he needs to scoot, and then I'll go to Tammy. What's your final thought there, Jeff?
So as we are on the eve of the 2020 revisiting themselves, the American people are going to have to be shown something, and that something is going to be Caracas. Because remember, the DOM Indian all started at Venezuela.
And well,
you always have that side, Tammy. Whenever Jeff drops something in his final thought, Tammy's like, "Son of a bitch!" Now I got to think about that all night.
Well, yeah, it's interesting because the next show is I have a clip of Bannon and Tim Fitton from the Judicial Watch talking about voter rolls and cleaning them up and what they've achieved and what they haven't. So here we are spinning back around to the dang machines and illegal votes and everything else. So Jeff just pulled it out of my head. He must have seen that I had it up here and didn't talk about it.
Either that or the future proves the past.
There you go.
Thanks for joining us tonight, Jeff. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Bye, Jeff.
Well, Tammy, what's your final thought?
Well, it was a very good show with people and the questions like per usual. They've been on top of it, our audience, and I love that. it just kind of feels comforting again to be in this, I want to call it a safe environment where we can all share our views and have a good conversation, because boy, when we step outside of this environment here, it sure is crazy and ugly out there, and sometimes we don't know what's up and what's down. It's worse than the Stranger Things upside down world. So it's nice that we are able to just calm each other down, help each other out, and keep the faith and keep strength amongst each other. And I love all the information that people have to share. They're so smart. People are so smart, and I love that. And I wish some of these people that are their heads in the sand or think that they know it all would just either join us or talk to the people that are in our chat, and just with an open mind, they'd have a lot to learn and they'd feel a lot more comfortable in their lives, I think.
Bizarro world. Totally agree with that comment. Here's my final thought. So I've gone back and forth lots of times. One minute I'm like, I'm there, and then the next minute I got to pull back a little bit, and then I'm there, and then I pull back. But there's a comment here in chat that I'm going to finish my final thought with tonight, and it pertains to Donald J. Trump. And he said a lot of things, and he just really stirs the pot. He trolls well. He knows how to push buttons. I mean, I believe that he's informed us. He's given us information. He's turned the country around, getting it on the right track. But when you and Jeff both talk about things that are possibly going to come up for the times between 2020 and 2022 and in November of 2020, just remember this, and this is per comment in chat. But I'm going to end with this. We got it all. All right. Thanks for joining us tonight, folks. Love y'all. God bless. We're going to sign off. Thanks, Tammy. Appreciate it.
Bye. Good night, guys.